Coach Pitino, if you have a opening statement, we can start it off.
We're excited to play Hofstra. Obviously, I personally attended St. Dominic's in Oyster Bay, which is not too far from where Hofstra is located in Hempstead, and always had great respect for the Hofstra basketball program going back to the Jay Wright days. And certainly we look forward to hope maybe a long relationship with Hofstra. When you have quality local teams, you'd love to get them on your schedule because you don't have to spend a lot of money to travel and play them.
Okay, Coach, we have a couple hands raised. First question will be for Jerry Beach. Jerry, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hey, Rick, thanks for your time. Two quick questions. First, I asked Mike this, how valuable, first of all, how tough is it to schedule at the mid-major level in general, and especially during the coronavirus era, and how valuable is it to be able to find a game like this? And now obviously you have a 3-year contract. How valuable is it to find a game like this local in a year where you probably can't travel as much as you might like to?
Well, it's invaluable. Hofstra has had great success, not only last year, but in the past. They have outstanding tradition. And, it's something that we look forward to because we're going to play in Madison Square Garden next year. I believe we're putting together a home and home with Brigham Young. We're going to be playing in a tournament in Florida, the Disney Classic, which has Kansas and Alabama in there. Down the road, we're playing in the Atlantis tournament, which is always top 15 talent. So we're trying to really upgrade our schedule, and certainly having Hofstra on it bodes well for us in doing that and accomplishing that feat.
And secondly, I remember, I believe you were hired just after the sports world shut down. Obviously, Hofstra was one of the last teams to get in under the wire. So kind of an interesting bookend. You guys both kind of had big news happening right around everything happening. What do you remember about that week, and in particular, just, the maelstrom of things going on and taking a new job in the midst of everything in sports kind of being shut down? What was that like for you?
Well, Jerry, I was in Greece coaching professional basketball, and it's funny because I met someone a little later on a plane back there that he had to spend 6 months there and couldn't get out because I got out 24 hours ahead of him, catching a flight through London. If I didn't catch it, I would have been stuck there and probably would not have been the Iona coach. So I got lucky. The president, as well as the athletic director, flew over to Madrid, Spain to meet with me. And I was named the coach, and I got out just in time before the pandemic got into full swing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question will be Adam Zagoria. Adam, if you unmute yourself, you can ask a question.
Coach, how we doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Adam.
How you doing today? Okay.
I'm great, thank you.
All right. Just with the whole COVID and the 14-day quarantine, already we've had, Villanova and Marquette had to pause, 14 days basketball activities because of that. I'm just wondering, what do you think the likelihood is that either Iona's season or just the MAAC season in general could be disrupted? People have to miss games because of a 14-day quarantine.
Everybody's going to be disrupted because of the 21 days that they're demanding. Unless the vaccine comes, which is nowhere in the near future, we're all going to be disrupted. There's going to be cancellations, postponements. That's why I personally thought the ACC coaches had a great model to let everybody in the tournament. I thought that was great because now you're not concerned with postponements. You're not concerned with cancellations. College interest would be amazing for that 1 year where everybody's in because of all the cancellation disruptions. I was really disappointed that they didn't look at that model and give it serious consideration in light of the fact that we would have so many cancellations and so many postponements.
So just to clarify, Iona would pause for 14 days if someone tested positive, right?
Yes, and then we'd have to, like we have someone right now. It's happened to all of us. So yes, and then I believe there's a period of time where you've got to get that athlete back. You can't just after 14 days not get him back in shape. So it would be very difficult.
If I could just try to squeeze in one more here real quick. I mean, obviously the MAAC generally, Rick, has been a one bid league. I think there was maybe 1 year recently where there were 2 bids. What's it like for you going from, like a Power 5, conference like the ACC where you had 5, 6, 7 teams every year to a one bid league? What will that mean for you guys?
Well, obviously going from the ACC in the Big East and realizing that you could finish in 3rd or 4th or 5th place or even further down and still maintain your bid and get a good seed. Now you go to a one bid league, but hopefully we'll add to it. Iona's had great success. Tim Kloos did a fabulous job in 4 straight NCAA appearances. And hopefully that we enhance our schedule along with some of our other teams, and we get possibly 2 or 3 teams down the road. The MAAC is a group of coaches that can flat out coach the game. I know quite a few of them, and it just takes better scheduling and wins with better scheduling to get more than one team in the tournament. So I'm very honored to be the coach at Iona, to be part of the MAAC, and certainly we're going to do everything possible to enhance the fortunes of the MAAC conference.
Thank you, my friend. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. The next question, Justin Walters, WPAX. I believe you are able to just unmute yourself.
Thank you. Coach, was wondering how tough of this offseason has been, starting in a new program with so many transfers and new recruits, not having the access that you usually would. Is this one of your toughest off seasons to then start fresh with this team?
It is, because we have 3 different forms of our man defense. We have a matchup zone that we try and teach. We have 3 different full court presses. We have a European motion offensive sets that we have to put in, and not one player is back to understand any of those concepts. We have 3 returning players who are all outstanding, 3 seniors. We had 4, one fractured his foot. We have 3, and we had to bring in 12 new players. So it's very difficult putting it in the first year, but I knew that going into it. But we do have some outstanding recruits. They're very hard workers, and Coach Kloos left me 3 outstanding seniors, who 1 from the Netherlands, 2 from the States, who are all very talented young men, and it's been a lot of fun working with them. But it is challenging. I knew that going into it, though. The first year of any program, whether it's Louisville, Kentucky, Providence, Boston University, is always the most difficult.
And one more, if I could squeeze it in, Brian. Coach, you're exactly 3 weeks away from the season opener on the 25th against Fordham. Is there any part of you that gets excited knowing that the month is here, or will it only feel like an accomplishment once you get to that point and you're actually playing on the 25th, knowing that the situation with the pandemic is fluid?
I'm probably more excited today than any period of my life, because it's a totally different experience, but it's back home. It's where I grew up. I spent a lot of time in Westchester when I was the New York Knicks coach. I lived in Armonk and Bedford. And I'm probably more pumped up today than any time in the past, because the one thing about Iona College, it's a small, charming little campus that every single coach that has coached here has had 2 things that really stick out from going back to Jim Valvano. Every coach has had great success, and every coach has moved on to greener pastures, so to speak, up the level of that ladder to a bigger conference. Well, I'm working in reverse. I'm ending my career at a place that for me it's all about teaching. It's all about being part of an academic community, and the people I've met here at the Iona College campus, and it's not many, to be honest with you, because of COVID, but people I've met, the alumni I've met, are so dedicated and loyal to Iona College that it's been a unique experience for me, and I'm very, very proud to be the head coach.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. The next question will be for Ken Kreitzer. Ken, if you unmute yourself.
Okay, Coach, I hope you're doing well. I'm actually a Providence grad, and I watched you coach in 86, 87 at PC. I was just wondering about how that period, when you took the team to the Final Four, you played up-tempo, utilized a three-point shot, which was new then. How did that affect your overall basketball philosophy and ways of coaching the game?
Well, Providence College, those 2 years, since the inception of the Big East, which I believe was 7 years, Providence College was either in last place or shared it with Seton Hall. So that was a magical run by some magical players. And I'll never forget it. Providence College always, every place I've been, I've learned many things. And what I've learned at Providence College more than anything else was it taught me to always dream of the impossible, or always dream of the very difficult, that if you dream enough and you work hard enough, anything is possible. And those 2 years taught me on that magical run to continue to dream. And I do it now at Iona College. I'm dreaming of something really special going to happen to our basketball program, not necessarily during COVID or during these tough times, but down the road. So it was a magical run. I love Providence College. You'll get a big kick out of this, Ken, since you're a PC person. I just had dinner the other night with Lou Lamoriello. We spent 3.5 hours together, and I bought Islander season tickets just because of Lou. Now, I'm somewhat of a hockey fan, but not over the top. And I feel that Lou Lamoriello will bring a Stanley Cup champion to the Islanders. And I bought 2 season tickets with their new place at Belmont Park.
Yeah, I once broadcasted Providence hockey with Coach Lamoriello. I just wanted to ask you, how did you communicate with your players? You had the players that were holdovers from last year's Iona team and the players that you were recruiting and bring in. How did you communicate with them, and how has practice gone so far?
Well, I recruited 8 new players, but basically I could honestly say that 6 of the players probably couldn't have told me what state Iona College was located. It was all based on player development and based on the program becoming even more special than what Tim Cluse had it at, and all the other great coaches that they've had here, from Kevin Willard to Timmy Welsh to Jimmy V to Pat Kennedy. And I'm probably leaving somebody out, Jeff Ruland, of course. And to make it even more special, and right now, most of it was done Zoom calls. We have one player from Rwanda, another from Nigeria who just arrived, beating out a civil war. We have a player from the Netherlands who's returning, a player from Germany, and a player from Sweden. So one of our recruiting tactics is to recruit overseas for big people. We feel that it's much, not easier, but it's when you encompass Europe and some of the places I've coached from the EuroLeague, we can get some big people. Now, we did well, I can't talk about recruits, so I'll wait till letter of intent day.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Ken. We have one more hand raised. If anyone else has any questions, make sure to raise your hand. The hand is Jaden Daly. Jaden, unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Rick, how are you? Great to see you and hear from you again. 2 questions from me, if you have the time. First, you made short work of getting the roster turned over and recruiting the number of players you got right away into Iona on short notice and some sight unseen physically. What's been the biggest challenge as far as indoctrinating all the newcomers into your system, and also getting the 3 incumbent players, Asante, Dylan, and Isaiah, to mesh with them and learn a new pace and a new system that you don't normally see in the MAAC?
Well, I'm really impressed with the 3 seniors. They're all very different. They're tri-captains, voted by the managers, the coaches, and their teammates. Almost unanimous. Asante is a terrific point guard, scoring point guard, and those are the ones I like the best. Makes players better. Isaiah Ross is a great scorer, great 3-point shooter, has good size. And Dylan Van Eck is somebody who really understands how to play at 6'8". He's a pick and pop power forward, a little weak physically. We've got to get him stronger. But those are 3 outstanding seniors left by Coach Cluse. The other guys, the other 10 or 12 players, they've got a lot to learn. And I have one young man who came in at 7 foot from Rwanda, Osborne Shima, who came in at 175 pounds at 7 feet tall. Now he's almost 200. He's 198 today. We hope to get him up to 210 in the next 3 weeks. And he's going to be a special basketball player because he's mobile. He's better than Gorky Zhang, who signed a $60 million contract with the Timberwolves and won a national championship for me at the same stage. He's more gifted offensively. Now, I hope he's half as good as Gorky Zhang when he left me, but he's very, very skilled. He runs well, he jumps well, he blocks shots, he shoots it. He's just thin. And I've had great success with players like that. Francisco Garcia came in after a 10-year career. He came into me at 155 pounds. Walter McCarty, who came in at Kentucky, was 6'9", 175 pounds, and they just needed a good strength program. So I'm very, very impressed right now with Osborne. He's somebody that's going to get a lot of playing time as a freshman. The other guys really have a lot to learn, and they're not ready to play right now, but I didn't think they would be. They have to blend in and mesh in, and our tri-captors are doing an outstanding job of making sure they're highly competitive and they get after it each and every day.
And one more from me, Rick, if you can you comment a little more on having Steve Masiello in the league at Manhattan? Obviously, you coached him, coached with him, and coached against him. Now, how much more intrigue does that add to the Iona-Manhattan rivalry, and how much is it going to mean to you to be able to coach against him twice a year in one of the more marquee matchups in the MAAC and also in the local basketball landscape?
Well, Steven's like he's not just an ex-player of mine. He was my New York Knicks ball boy. I became best friends with his dad. Steven's like part of my family, and he had great success as a player. He played in a Final Four, and the following year in the Tubby, they won a national championship. Steven's an outstanding coach. We played against each other in the NCAA tournament. We were life and death to win with far more talent and size. So he's an outstanding basketball mind. He's a basketball junkie. I just love him. We get together now. We speak all the time, and be a great rivalry. And it's one rivalry that, you want to win, certainly, but if you do lose and you go shake that person's hand, you'll be very happy for someone that you love dearly. So I'm real excited to be part of it. I know King Rice a long, long time. Think the world of King. I know some of the other coaches and it's an outstanding group of coaches. It's coaches that don't have as much money as some of the other programs. They don't have some of the bells and whistles that the big time programs have, but as far as X's and O's, these guys can flat out coach.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Great to see you again. Look forward to covering you a little more.
Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you, Jaden. And the last question, Bobby Safardini. Bobby, you can unmute yourself.
Thanks again, Brian. Coach, you've had an incredible career. Given everything that we've spoken about tonight with all the different challenges, do you think coming in, this could be the hardest job that you've had to take, you've taken as a new program coming in?
Kentucky was probably the most difficult, even much more difficult here. Why? Because all the good players, when I took the Kentucky job, they were on probation. 2 years, they were not allowed to play in the NCAA tournament. And we actually signed Jamal Mashburn, who took the program from 4 or 5 years rebuilding to 2 years rebuilding. I mean, what player would choose a school when they couldn't be on TV, they couldn't play in the NCAA tournament? And Jamal did it, and he turned around our fortunes right away from Cardinal Hayes here in the Bronx. So that Kentucky was a difficult program. I think the first year we only had 7 scholarship basketball players. We didn't have great size. Mash wasn't there in the first year, and the second year we won the conference, although we couldn't play in the tournament. And then, of course, the third year was when we were eligible for the tournament, and we played in that Elite 8 game, that special game that lost to Christian Leitner with that great basketball game that we lost in overtime. I think it was 103, 102, or whatever it was, somewhere around there. I get reminded every March about that game, so it was a special time. But this is very difficult, but I think Kentucky and then Providence, because Providence, as I said earlier, was in last place since the inception of the Big East, and Kentucky with being on probation. This is navigating around a pandemic, which I hope I only see once in my lifetime. I have kind of a funny story, because when I bought the Islander tickets, the person who was running the ticket said to me, we have a 3-year package. And I said, that's fine. It may take 3 years to win a Stanley Cup. I'm all in. And he said, but coach, we can offer you a 10-year package and it's a lot cheaper. And I said to him, I said, how long do you think I'm going to live? I've been coaching 43 years. And he laughed. I said, no, I think I'll stay with the 3-year package.